ushered in a new era in our politics. The national conscience shall never come to terms with the tragedy that has befallen our country. In the midst of our sorrow, the tears of our people shall fuel our quest for the attainment of the principles and ideals that Motswaledi lived for. The principles of genuine democracy that affords every individual a fair opportunity to achieve his best, and a transparent, non-corrupt government accountable to the rule of law and the will of its people. The passing of our leader, MK Motswaledi, presents our people with a difficult and yet unavoidable question of whether our systems of government are designed to serve the interests of our people or whether they serve a few ruling elites. Our pain over the demise of our leader evokes questions of trust over the security organs of our country, as presently run under the regime of the BDP. As doubt and confusion permeates our political air, we observe with disdain the business as usual and cavalier approach that the present regime often affords the problems that are besieging the country, the problems which Comrade Motswaledi fought for in his short but successful political career. Seji fought against the rule of a man, the rule by fear that President Ian Khama is synonymous with. While he was at the BDP, Motswaledi sought to restore sanity and the rule of law and democracy in the Ian Khama-led BDP, a move which saw him being unceremoniously expelled from the party 2 months prior to 2009 general elections. His death 2 months to this year general elections cannot be treated as an isolated and unsuspicious act of nature taking its course. We are aware that President Khama nurtures a deep-rooted hatred for Motswaledi and the principle he stood for, the cause of freedom. Botswana is of the democratic cause. The present regime has eroded all non-democratic ideals that this country has known. However, even in the midst of our pain and the passing of our leader, we gather strength in the saying that one cannot destroy a bush by cutting the tallest trees. The cause of freedom shall not be halted, and on the contrary, it shall persist even with more vigor and determination. The ideals that Motswaledi lived for shall remain embedded in our hearts and shall always define the course of our politics. In our pain, we shall never lose focus of the challenges faced by our society. The challenge of unfair, unequal distribution of our country's natural resources that has seen communities in the Okavango region become spectators as a few local elites with their foreign friends unfairly appropriate to themselves huge chunks of natural resources to themselves at the expense of the majority. The challenge of massive corruption level that has become a signature of the Khama presidency. The challenge of poverty that has reduced our leaders in rural areas to be beggars at the side of President Khama. Just like our departed leader, we shall continue with even more resolver calls for an inclusive economy and transparent government that respect the rule of law and democratic principles. We demand, as Motswaledi did, an end to the rule of a man in the form of Ian Khama and return to the rule of law. The reign of President Khama and his dominance over government institutions such as the DCEC, DIS, the police and the military must be brought to an end and the rule of law must be reinstated. This is what Motswaledi lived for and cherished, and we shall continue our struggle along this course. Botswana was not meant to be a monarchy, and presidential directives can never take precedence over the written laws of the land as is the current state. Khama has turned himself into an unaccountable monarch presiding over desperate subjects, and in this regard, we shall continue to call for an amendment of our constitution to reduce the powers of the presidency of Botswana and subject it to proper systems of checks and balances according to the law. Erosion of confidence in the state security agencies. Our memory is still fresh with how in the past the current regime had eliminated what they termed undesirable elements through extrajudicial killings. Graphic details of how John Kalafatis was executed by state security agents are still vivid in our memory. The subsequent pattern extended to John Kalafatis killers rendered President Khama an accomplice in the death of that innocent man. The state of Affairs has eroded our trust over a government-led investigation into Khumalo Motswaledi's death. Our security organs cannot be trusted to stand up against the dictates of their political masters. In this regard, we support fully an independent investigation into the purported car accident that took our leader's life. It is the state of affairs we find ourselves in, where the president has taken control of institutions such as the police, the DCEC, the DIS, and the military intelligence, which speaks to us and make us refuse to believe that the present government can conduct a fair investigation. We have heard of allegations of existence of hit list. Until the contrary is proved by a transparent investigation, we will not accept that MK Motswaledi's young life has been brought to an end by an act of God. He was son of God. Not yet sunset the way forward. As the youth of the UDC, we refuse to accept that it is sunset for Motswaledi. The sun cannot set at the break of dawn for such a young, vibrant, and committed servant of our people. Until evidence is produced, we call on our people to treat the death of Motswaledi as consistent with acts of criminality famous with African dictatorships. The Khama regime has prepared its bed, and it must accept responsibility for the erosion of our trust and the suspicions of foul play that currently persists as regards his death. To demonstrate our misgivings with the current state of affairs, we shall intensify our campaigns against the current regime by holding massive demonstrations and public rallies in the whole country. We call on our youth from all the political divide to participate actively in the unfolding era by availing themselves and participating in the demonstrations. We are setting up a strategy team which will inform and guide our campaigns. We call on members of the civil society to speak out against this blatant injustices and declining state of affairs in our country. We shall approach progressive civil society organizations with a view of devising a centralized, all-inclusive campaign mechanisms to put pressure on the ruling regime to effect the long overdue democratic changes that the nation craves. In our Solaga Mandela, Kenako who dirala the countries about Tulimadon Sala Lego Zuma. Ila Solaga Mandela Lidirala, or focus Yaku Solaga Mandela. So, Umpiano, the Pampiricho social media or focus more as a cause. So, Hasor Harabono or Hologa shift your focus or who you go to Solaga Motswaledi, Hotoladi investigation. May I have to pick a Motswaledi, Rale Sepisa or Banamar, we are going to bring them to Bukia Lobo.
Thank you. Bagaimana cara tu medisa? Mene kira pelanggan semula la kabam hakwa mi kisupe korkana erlahar driselo hakola hore in the passing away of Comrade Motswaledi. I need to replace that word by killing of Comrade Motswaledi. Because comrades, holobaka who simulukile under the Khama regime, ka 2009. We have lost the life of Musimanyana by the Mabolawaki Supodisi. And up to now, Hosantara was not specific balang who is starting the Tamahakani. Then how do we believe after the killing of Comrade Motswaledi? If you look we told the people of Khama, the police, who spoke about that, who told the Madu Arabatan, Autotomisa, Kotia, Mokauli, when or Idiri. The sons of Relo not really youth league UDC. The sons of Remy now, Katamelem, Mamamu, wearing Hamming Happy, Kahotza, Sola, Ahotza Comrade, Comrade Jail or Humpiana. At the current UDC leadership. With that, this thing is more strong than ever. With that, as young people of this project, we will stand up, really teaming, really tupa, Talisel Comrade Tabu, Horekamuso, really Nele, Selon in the Resabata, Comrade. You may have some sort of come to the very push. Listen to the outside Zaga on Tonzijalo. Me Rocopalona as a chaba, Rocopalona banana. Why am I getting now? It is special gas who has the Lucopa, Lubolutuna Lorna Bahitu. Bahitu, the Santa Artacella, Jagamugalunga, we look at Trita, Losula comrade, Ilipola, who telling, just the longer the Atrohala, who spoke for Hasipola within the Tisapel Habon. Messenger Rusico did Hazard Zamudit. tsa gore go tsweletse gompieno batho ba e leng gore le bone di-key witnesses tse e leng gore di dire teng di supa gore gompieno di a nyela re tshwanetse re supe gomo ke tsamaiso ya go leka go ka tlhatswa le go ipa bophepa go gore comrade ga a bolao ba tshwanetse re itse gore comrade o bolaiwe ke raya gore I want to put that in record ba ka o lengwe gore re itse gore jaanong this is not passing away, this is the killing of comrade go molemo Motswaledi.
What is even more shocking is those who hated and persecuted Comrade Motswaledi ran in a supersonic speed go TV. Aka ile a ba mo suspenda ba tabagala go TV ba supa ka le maswale indiscipline di ka teng no gompieno ga ba etsa go tlhokagala bone ba bolaiwa ba tabagala go radio le go TV ba go supa ka eleng a very promising young man na le ka teng that very hypocrite.
Mare regatelle ma go kwa batho betso position e ke buang ke yone ya rona rote is a collective decision. Rona se re se lemogang ke gore santa re isupe gore rona re le banana ba UDC ga re dumelane le magokwaneng a bua maabane ke mbulawa a supang gore ga go na le any investigation, a private investigation, re tshwanetse gore re thusane le bone. The fact that re institute a private investigation go supa gore we don't trust them. Therefore wona ga re ka kopa le bone, so we don't trust them. They are just unreliable the people. Ke tshwanetse gore ke isu sa be ke gore ba gaetso we don't need an angel from God. Go lema gore ya ka ba ka le ngwa ba bua comrade le go kolole le gore da ke tsaba go le bua mme ke lone ke le tsaba ka gore ke a tenega so santa ba so ga bona o sa itse gore Motswaledi was neither drink nor smoke. Motswaledi nna ke tsamaile le ene thata ne ke na le ene go se re ga no ga goge ya no nganyela e tle ya gore go ithetse bo jala bo nkga mo koloi le mabotele a bo jalo. Is a clear indication that the PDP is responsible for his death. Whatever tola ba go ba ka go le go di mo ha ba tsena ra ba bolela go you are responsible for comrade's death. So ga re thoke mo e le go ta gore bolele kanya tshwantse re bua ba ka lengwe ke gore mapodisi ba na le mathata ka botsa go bona le ka palwa le ka ga isha ke just a paper. How's that voice paper? Yeah, super worry. One of the eyewitnesses was super more we did we does about the Value on who. If you don't know what the mask, il on time, we're going to allow it in time. Elimu, to you got to give me crazy. Renewal or a guy. So a politician don't do it. Well, at the end of the more Bonica or I love after 30 minutes. If I worry on a little, so where did you go? Kayar nere hakamasa ke ornare SSG ye go tine pumpunu ga etso go mo ga borone why SSG ke ra gore ipuse gore ma SSG ne ba zo go ka gore ba tsena go e kana ka gore ba zo mo ga borone ba latela motho kwa e bile ga be khantere di utwa ngate ka gore batho ba re bola ke gore gone go accident scene nyele go utla gore se re ba sa mo ka lengwa ga sa tswa ke ma SSG. Me wa mari ke gore ha se tsena go se ne se tsena ya no le ma SSG ga te go ya no se tsere ke banna bangwe ba very private clothes potsa ke gore ba mo gane ya nsere ba ke bone ba so we need to know so ke so ile mo sa tsere se be ke ala ba batho betso
beso le di medisitswe